the UK's largest untapped oil field has been approved by regulators. Rosebank, 80 miles west of Shetland, is estimated to contain 500 million barrels of oil.
Yeah, the government says it will raise billions of pounds and make us more secure against tyrants like Putin. Well, that sounds like good news. Liam Halligan is our business editor and economics editor.
My sins.
This is a huge step forward, but how does this fit in with all the dash to net zero?
Well, this is the UK's largest untapped field that we know of, because, of course, there may be others that we don't know of, but it's a major field. I've got some details here. As I say, it is the largest untapped oil and gas field in the North Sea. It's 80 miles west of the Shetland Islands. The companies involved here are the state Norwegian energy giant Equinor and the UK's private company Ithaca Energy. We're looking at 350 million barrels of oil over the lifetime of this field. What does that mean? That's about 3.5 days' use for the whole world. The world uses about 100 million barrels of oil a day. But that's quite chunky from one field. We're looking at £8 billion of investment, and we're looking at about 2,000 jobs. And you say, how does it tie in with net zero? Well, even the Climate Change Commission, which is the government's kind of in-house, conscience, if you like, on climate issues. It's a statutory body. It's got legal powers to advise publicly the government and to push the government in certain directions. Even the Climate Change Commission admits that we use 70% of our energy at the moment is oil, right? When you think of transport. But across the piece. It's going to be 50% by 2030 at best, and it's going to be 25% by 2050 at best. These are on really optimistic take-up rates and efficiency rates for renewable energy and so on. So if we're still using a lot of oil and a lot of gas, of course is 40% of our electricity generation in 2050, it makes so much more sense to use our own oil and gas because it's a lower carbon footprint. At the moment, what we're doing, we're not using Russian gas. North Sea gas has dropped off. We're importing LNG, liquefied natural gas, from the US. Now, the energy you need to get that gas, turn it into a liquid, massively energy intensive, stick it in a diesel-powered tanker, right, 3,000 miles to Milford Haven, regasify it. I mean, it's completely mad when we've got our own gas in the North Sea.
So, and is there a big hue and cry from the environmental lobby about it?
There is. Caroline Lucas has said this is morally repugnant. She's the Green Party's main only MP. Obviously, Greenpeace and so on, they think this is completely outrageous. Interesting, though, there she is. Giving the green light to this huge new oil field is morally obscene, says Caroline Lucas. Interestingly, though, Andrew and Emily, this is quite clever politics because it really corners the SNP. Hamza Youssef says he wants to make Aberdeen the energy capital of Europe, of course, into the net zero capital of the world. A lot of voters on that East Coast don't like that. A lot of the best jobs in Scotland are in the oil and gas industry. And then, interestingly also, this puts Labour in a corner because you've got Gary Smith, who runs the GMB, a very astute leader of Britain's third biggest union. He absolutely backs new oil fields. It's loads of jobs for the GMB.
Lots of jobs.
And he makes the point that actually it's more climate friendly. The UK must be honest about where we're going to get the gas we need to take us to 2050 and beyond, says Gary Smith. Taking responsibility for more of our own gas supply will support good union jobs both directly and in the wider supply chain. So, look, particularly for Labour. Labour have got their university town, rather effete, she, tote bag carrying, Waitrose frequenting voters, right? But they've also got a lot of blue-collar voters in the Red Bull, and they've got blue-collar voters in Scotland, and they want to, re-establish Scotland as the key to a majority at Westminster. It's really difficult to know what Keir Starmer can say about this.
How is he going to play this?
And also, there's a by-election coming up in Scotland. Key by-election, which they think they've got to win because the SNP MP was booted out because she broke the COVID rules.
We've obviously got the Tory leadership contest coming. I think that's the Tory conference coming. I think a lot of what Suella Braverman's been doing is very much preempting that. But also, we've got a lot of politics now. Rishi Sunak is finally doing some politics.
Absolutely.
He's doing his 2030 to 2035 ban with cars. He's boldly, at a very opportune moment, saying we want this new oil field. I think there'll be a lot of fire and brimstone and fury from the One Nation Tories and a lot of the broadcast media and so on. But I think a silent majority of people across the country will say, Good on you, son.
This might even cut some of our fuel bills.
Yeah, maybe.
Wouldn't that be great?
In the years to come.
Well, it's certainly good for energy security.
Absolutely.
It's interesting because I think Keir Starmer wants Angela Rayner to sort these kind of issues with the unions.
His deputy, yeah.
But he's going to have to come out and say he already got pushed on the old Just Stop Oil and everything.
And she gets funding from a trade union, her office, so she'll have to have a nod to that.
Yeah. Very interesting what Gary Smith has been saying. Thanks, Liam. Thank you very much indeed, Liam Halligan, our economics editor.